Okay, are we ready?
Give me 1 second and make sure.
So I could share the YouTube now, right?
Yeah, I can share it to Facebook. Hang on a second.
Okay. One of these days I will figure all this out, get all these various systems going. So,
Yeah,
All
by
right,
then
we're
they'll
good
be
to go,
like
guys.
brand new.
Take it away.
Okay, our next guest after our financial superstar is Dom Fawcett. And he is a keynote speaker, an executive coach, best-selling author, radio show host, sorry about that, a military veteran and prior police officer with 10 years experience in corporate leadership training. He's the CEO of Think, React, Lead, and that is a company that is dedicated to pushing people past their limiting beliefs by bridging the gap between their mind and heart for increased success. And I'm going to add here that he has the coolest dog ever. Will you show us dog pictures?
oh, yes, please.
Oh, wait, we can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
I can. Let me just stop sharing here.
Okay.
Yes.
How about now?
We want to see the dog.
Here's Toretto. Come here, Toretto. All right, I just need you to be kind of good, all right?
Hi.
Toretto.
Is that the coolest little face ever?
He does have a personality, and he's not mad. That's his face. That's his resting dog face.
Yes, it is.
Put you up, buddy.
All right. So talk to us.
Hold on, I gotta pay you. All right. Coming back right now. Here we are. Good day. I'm assuming you can hear me correct?
Yes.
We are all set. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks, Juliet, for contacting me and inviting me to this conference. As a speaker, right? Most of us know that the stage is where we get our mojo from, but this will be interesting. We're going to talk about command presence. I'll start sharing my screen here in a minute. Let's just pull this up as I talk. All right, here we go. So we're going to talk about command presence, and Juliet was correct. I started in the United States Air Force, K9. I've been loving dogs since probably way back, but it brought me to a career in the military. Then I got out, became a police officer in Jackson, Mississippi, and then I left there and I jumped into the corporate space. Started with sales and eventually moved my way up into the finance and insurance realm, into leadership and development. Command presence was something that I implemented in my own life. And it's what's helped me build Think, React, Lead. Think, React, Lead is think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead in every aspect of your life. It's the name of my radio show. It'll be the name of my podcast. It's the name of my book. It's something that I've utilized in myself over the last, I'd say, 15 plus years. And it's allowed me to take time to step out into the entrepreneur space. July of 2017 is when I initiated that. And I haven't looked back since. But command presence is this section of the conference is today's confidence for tomorrow's vision. And this topic, I've been teaching and facilitating this topic probably for about 2 years now. But I think it's it reigns more prevalent now, given everything people have to deal with. We have people losing jobs. We have people that are uncertain. We have people that get caught up in their head, because of what they hear on the radio, what they see on the news. Command presence really allows you to focus. And I don't know who came up with the acronym of focus, but it's follow one course until successful. And when you maintain, staying dialed into what it is that you were purposed to do, I don't care if you have a loved one die. I don't care if, not that I don't care, but go with me on this one. nothing's going to stop you, right? You might lose your job. That's fine. You might lose some clients. Okay, right? We're not promised that every single minute of every single day is going to go right. I recall a time last year that I got invited to speak somewhere like I normally do, and my mom happened to be in the hospital. And so my mom was a drill instructor in the military, so she's a little bit tough, but we didn't know if she was going to make it through the year last year. And I went to the hospital and I said I was going to cancel the event. She said, no, like, you're not a doctor. There's nothing you can do for me. Go do what your purpose to do. And when you know what your purpose to do, you operate at a high level of command presence. So here are the 7 questions that will help you take back what's yours and increase your results. All right. So I've never come across anyone without a vision. This is a PDF and I can send it down the road, but all the answers are going to be in here. I've met many people who lack the confidence to attain their vision. And vision is the faculty or state of being able to see, right? A thought, a concept, or even an object formed by the imagination. Now let's talk about confidence, which is the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. Let me stop right there. Most people aren't certain. And you're probably saying, yes, I'm certain. Okay. You go to a restaurant that you've been to several times before. Menu hasn't changed. You get the menu and you look at the menu. You spend too much time looking at the menu that hasn't changed, that you've seen over 20 times over the last year or two, right? You go to McDonald's and you stand in line and you're looking at everything. 5 minutes later, you walk up, they ask, what is it you would like? And you look back up at the menu. You had 5 minutes to look at it. The confidence comes from being able to make a decision, right? Be certain with everything that it is that you are going to do. There should never be a moment throughout your day that you don't know what to do, right? One of the things that, growing up, I wasn't allowed to use these words or this sentence. I don't know. At the age of 11, that was a phrase or statement that had to be removed from my vocabulary. So you either know or you know somebody that knows the answer. You might have to text them, you might have to call them, you might have to write them, but you do know. And oftentimes the questions that we ask, we know the answer to, but we're so impatient that we lack the forethought to go deep into who we are to answer the question. And once you are able to combine your vision with your confidence, you will know your full potential and have clarity on your purpose. So let's talk about 3 common reasons people have lost their confidence. Some people, simply put, have been discouraged by others, right? Some people are held back by past disappointments and hurts. And then some people get into the habit of settling for average. Here's a quote by one of my tech sergeants, Tech Sergeant Troutman. He said, on the way up, you might get kicked in the teeth. It doesn't mean you stop. So if you're disappointed, that's fine. It means you're breathing. It means you're alive. If your feelings get hurt, that's wonderful. It means you're breathing. It means you're alive. If other people hurt you, if you hurt, whatever it is, as long as you can breathe, you can embrace the suck and you can move forward. Many people, especially now, wake up and they don't have their schedules have changed. And unfortunately, they've allowed their routines to change. Some of us that are parents, we have to now, our kids are at home and our kids have to get into this, oh, I'm staying at home. Well, no, you're staying at home, but the routines don't change. Just because you lost your job or you lost clients doesn't mean your routines change, right? So if you had a job or if you were getting up, getting your kids ready for school before at 5:30, that's part of your routine. Still get your butt up at 5:30, 05:30 hours. Get up in the morning. Just because you can't go to the gym does not mean you can't maybe drive around the block to trick your mind into thinking that you're going somewhere at 5 a.m., come back home, knock out 40 minutes of calisthenics, right? These are things that people started to do and then they stopped because of everything that we have going on. And if you are in the habit of settling for average, I do talk about habits a lot. I sent a link. It's a habit assessment. It'll be, Juliet has it, but you go there and you look at the habits that you have that are areas of opportunities, and you look at the areas of or the habits that you have that are things that you're dialed in on, but you can get better at them. The goal here is not to be average. How does one on a daily basis maintain removing themselves from being average? One of the things that I do is at the end of every day, I ask myself, what more can I do? I say, Dom Fawcett, what more can you do? I don't care how tired I am. The other day was end of day. So what more can you do? My gut said, go run 5 miles. Now I am not like a runner, but I completed the 5 miles, right? Your gut knows what to do. What happens is the gap between your mind and your heart is so large. And the goal here is to bridge the gap between the mind and the heart, but the gap is so large that you don't like discomfort. You talk yourself out of exercising. You talk yourself out of getting up, right? Your alarm goes off. If you're hitting snooze on your alarm, I guarantee you there's other spaces in your world, in your day, that you're hitting snooze on. It is having an effect on you. So by now you're pretty dialed into attaining your vision and increasing your confidence, and you feel it's worth pursuing. How do you know what the odds are in your favor, that the odds are in your favor? This brings us to the questions that are found here in the back of my book. Let's go to these questions. Let me go back. Yeah, there we are. And do I own the rights to my vision? We'll cover that. What evidence do I have it's mine? We'll cover that. It's my vision, my truth, or is my vision my truth? Am I mission focused? Am I willing to pay the price? 4 and 5 are one of my favorites. Will it validate my existence? Who will I influence? Do I own the rights to my vision? Let's start here. When someone else owns your vision versus when you own your vision. Now I'm looking at you guys here. My screen is here. Go with me on this one. One, it will not have the right fit, or it will feel right to you. It will drain your energy. It will fire you up. It will take you out of your strength zone, or it will take you out of your comfort zone. I wonder if you're willing to bet on yourself, right? You have to, and these are questions you have to ask yourself. Give me a second here. There's a lot of controls on this thing, and we are just going to close out of this and open this right back up. There we are. Are you willing to bet on yourself? 9 out of 10 people that I have the fortunate pleasure of coaching aren't. 10 out of 10 people say, yes, I'm willing to bet on myself. Let me give you an example of what betting on yourself looks like. I'm not saying do this. I did this for myself. 2017, I said, you know what? I need to start my own business. But I didn't know anything about branding or marketing. And I knew I needed to hire a coach, right? So I took money out of my 401k because my mindset was, if I die in 5 years, if I die tomorrow, I'm not going to use it anyway. So let me build, at that time, a legacy, which I'm still working on that now. So I took money out of my 401k and invested it in myself, right? I was willing to bet on myself. You may succeed if nobody believes in you, but you will never succeed if you don't first believe in yourself. Look at it from this standpoint. I've heard entrepreneurs, I don't care what age, or I just heard people say, my family doesn't support me, right? Mom and dad, or my spouse doesn't support me. If you only support yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't support yourself at all, 10 being like you are just the man or the woman of this operation. If you only support yourself at a 6, you, sir, ma'am, cannot expect anybody around you to support you at a 7, 8, 9, or 10. Somebody can only believe in what it is you do up to the level in which you support yourself. You support yourself at a 6, they can come up to a 5. That's it. So the quicker you build confidence in what it is your purpose to do, and the sooner you start to grow from, say you're at a 5 of supporting oneself to 6 to 7, that's when others can get behind you. Nobody can push you towards your dream. A healthy self-worth creates a wealthy net worth. Don't compare yourself or your vision to others. See, when you compare yourself with those superior, you feel inferior. When you compare yourself with those inferior, you feel superior. But when you stop comparing yourself with others, you feel empowered to create or concentrate on your vision. So specific to public speaking, I have never watched a YouTube video of another speaker for me to get dialed in on how I'm supposed to speak on stage, or how I'm supposed to speak on radio, or how I'm supposed to speak during a TV interview, right? Your when you follow what it is your purpose to do, and you operate at a dialed in high level of confidence, your gut's going to tell you what it is you need to freaking do. But when you start looking up YouTube videos on how to do something that, like we all do, I don't call public speaking, it's just speaking. I just happen to make money at it, right? I don't know, I've been speaking since I was 2, maybe 2, hopefully it was sooner, but let's just go with 2 for numbers' sake. But I've been speaking for a long time. So getting on stage to speak is not, I'm not comparing myself to anybody. Do I believe in competition? Yes, but I don't believe in the comparison game. And sometimes the best way to get away from the comparison game is turn your TV off, turn your radio off. As a radio show host, probably shouldn't say that, but unless you listen to the Think React Lead radio show, but turn off everything and stop checking social media the moment you wake up. I check social media at about somewhere between 10 and noon. Now I post first thing in the morning, but I don't go back to check to validate or have myself validated to see who liked my post. Many of you do that. Don't look at, there's no reason to look at social media when you first wake up. 0. What evidence do I have? It's mine. A clear vision makes a general idea very specific. The first step to getting the things you want out of life is deciding what you want. Deciding what you want. You can't decide what you want if you don't write it down. Yeah, let me give you an example as to how powerful this is. And I have a group called Command Presence for Professional Men, and I shared it there. But I have a written down vision board. And in 2017, I wrote down the vehicle that I wanted. Porsche 911 Turbo. Well, I never updated that list. I did not update it. Around 2019, the end of 2019, so months ago, I started having this hankering for a 911 Turbo S. I go out and look for it. I saw one, called them. By the time I called, it was gone. All right. Saw another one online. I waited an hour or 2, called, it was gone. I ended up finding a great deal online on a 911 Turbo. Got that. I found the list 3 weeks after I bought the car. And on the list, I saw clear as snot, 911 Turbo or Porsche 911 Turbo. Did I beat myself up over it? Well, let's just say this. I got real dialed in, and I was very specific in my vision board going forward. I think if I would have put an S at the end of 911 Porsche, I would have found the S. But when you put it out there, you got to put it out there specifically. Write this stuff down. Deciding what you want requires you to be specific. For example, I want to lose weight versus I want to weigh 195 pounds by a specific date. I want more money versus I'll make 35K in Q3. I want to get stronger versus I'm going to do 25 push-ups over every time I open the refrigerator. You should, for those of you that are at home, which is most of you, try that. 25 push-ups every time you open your fridge. You'll stop opening your fridge because your body's going to hurt. A clear vision doesn't become clear without grit and effort. The vision is seated in the visionary, which is you, in his or her life experiences. Again, you, current circumstances and opportunities. When you show up and you bet on yourself, opportunities come. I don't have a speaker's agent. I'm not part of a speaker's bureau, but I do not run out of stages to speak on. Why? Because I invest in myself. I'm very strategic with what I do. My ask is that you invest in yourself. When you start doing whatever industry you're in, write down the 25 things that you need to do in this industry to be successful. And I say 25 because I did that 4 years ago. And on that list was radio show. Didn't know how I was going to get there. Podcast, like all of the things that you need to do. CBS, Fox, for notoriety to help your marketing. Didn't know how I was going to get there, but because I was in a gym and I met a lady, and the lady, I was wearing my brand on my shirt. She asked me what I did, found out that she was I forgot what they call them, but she got me on Fox, CBS, and NBC. All because I went from one gym and I went to another gym. This gym had a lot of business and entrepreneurs there. It was more expensive, yes, but it's investing in yourself. Strategic. Every part of your day must be strategic. If you're caught up on Netflix, you're wrong. Unless, of course, you decide, you know what? My way of relaxing is sitting down for an hour and a half and watching TV. If you're okay with that, then do it. Ask yourself the right questions. Am I centered? Am I my environment? Am I what's coming at me? Am I the right voice? Am I clear? A clear vision allows you to declare your motives and your purpose, govern your priorities, have line of sight to spur growth for yourself and your team. Is my vision my truth? Am I depending on factors within my control to achieve my vision? I'll say this: reality is the enemy of fantasies, but not of dreams. Rudy Rudiger. Those who turn their vision into reality take a different approach to their vision than those who live in a euphoric state of hope and what if. In that assessment that I was talking about earlier, the Habit Finder coaching assessment that I use for all of my clients and just for anybody who wants to take it, there's a section on there that'll let you know if you're in a fantasy space or you're actually very dialed in on what it is your purpose to do. Let's talk about visionaries versus vision producers. The visionaries rely on luck. Vision producers rely on discipline. Are you disciplined? Most people will say yes, externally. Internally, most people that I've ran this course through, they're not. From a discipline standpoint, one can walk into any room and look at how a person's sitting. You can look at what a person's wearing. You can look at a person's weight, whether it's excessive or not, and tell whether or not they're disciplined. When you're disciplined in every area of your life, you walk and talk and act with honesty, integrity, loyalty, and service in everything you do. Focus on the destination. These are visionaries. Vision producers focus on the journey. Visionaries cultivate unhealthy expectations, whereas producers cultivate healthy discontent. Stay outside of your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, you're wrong. One of the things that I do, and I do this for me, you don't have to do it. It would benefit you if you did. But when my eyes open up, I get out of bed. It could be 3:30 in the morning. It could be 4 a.m. It could be 7 a.m. I can't recall the last time I used an alarm outside of prepping for like a track day. My wife and I, we race motorcycles, but if somebody says I'm gonna come pick you up at 5 a.m., I do set my alarm. But just on a day-to-day, there's no need to. I'm excited about the next day. Oftentimes, I can't sleep because I'm excited about the next day. Why? I don't watch the news. I don't focus on negativity. I don't hang around negative people. And I want you to write this down. This is not part of this PowerPoint, but understand how powerful diversity is in your world. Write this down. If the 5 closest people to you act like you, look like you, think like you, believe like you, and sound like you, you're wrong. The 5 closest people to you should make you uncomfortable. You shouldn't know anything about them. For example, if I only hung around veteran men or males that were ex-cops, our conversations are going to be pretty much the same. But if I start hanging around people with different religions, obviously other gender, the different associations, then my circle of influence grows. Visionaries minimize the value of work, whereas vision producers maximize the work they do. The end of every day, ask yourself, what more can I do? Visionaries look for excuses. Vision producers lead to action. Visionaries create inertia. Vision producers generate momentum. And let me explain to you what momentum looks like. The day I woke up and I realized that, okay, I'm going to quit this wonderful job that I have. It pays very well. I have all the toys. I still have a good life. I had a good life then. I busted my butt to get to that point. But I said, okay, probably about 9 months from now, I'm going to work on leaving. So the moment leaving my corporate gig, when I realized that, and I had no social medias, I started posting on Instagram 3 times a day. My first year on Instagram, 3 times a day, every day for 365 days. It helped me grow my following at Dom Fawcett. And I got dialed in on that one space, and I found Facebook and LinkedIn. But I was purposeful in my knowledge. I was purposeful in what I was posting. Most people that are in business post to validate their existence, as opposed to posting to just get a message out there that's aligned with what their clients pay them to do. And I can talk about social media later. Is my vision my truth? Wait versus initiate. Avoid personal risk versus embrace risks as necessary. Make others responsible. This is a big one. Make others responsible versus making themselves responsible. At the end of the day, you're breathing. Whatever happened in your past happened. You can either get counseling for it. Like, trust me, as a guy growing up, the whole PTSD, like I've had a lot of crap come my way, but guess what? I'm alive. If you can breathe, you can decide to embrace the suck. And even if feces hit the oscillating rotor, I'll let that sink in for a minute. You can still move forward. You can still take a step forward. So what is the fine print as it relates to your vision? The journey will take longer than you planned. The obstacles will be more numerous than you believed. The disappointments will be greater than you expected. The lows will be lower than you imagined. The price will be higher than you imagine. The more unrealistic your dream, let me say that again. The more unrealistic your dream, the more you will be tempted to depend on things you cannot control to make it become a reality. Use this downtime, if you have it, to learn new skill sets that are only going to help your business grow. What I've learned about learning skill sets specific to my business, not what I coach people, not what I talk about, but skill sets like the back end of my business. As I'm learning specific things, I know what right looks like when I hire somebody to do that same thing. Could I do it myself? At this point, the answer is yes. For example, I do a lot of videos. I got cameras everywhere in my house. Am I a good editor? No, but when I hire editors or videographers and I look at their equipment and I look at the work that they do, I know what right looks like. So do you know what right looks like when you hire people? If not, you're going to get taken advantage of hugely. Do I have the right habits to achieve my vision? Aristotle says we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. So what are some habits you have that don't align with you? Match your habits with your dream. Reality is the foundation of your vision. I love cheesecake. Matter of fact, I love anything that starts and ends with cake. But because my dream is to change one life every day for the rest of my life, and I do that by speaking on stage and TV and the radio, and I know that nobody's going to listen to me if I weigh 300 pounds, that one of my habits is I have to limit the amount of sweets that I eat. It's to the point where my wife just doesn't even bring sweets into the house because I just, in that one area, I just love sweets. I don't know why that's my thing. It just is. So my habits disassociate me from eating sweets, right? To this day, I've never consumed alcohol. Not saying you shouldn't or you should, but I've always known from a very young child that I needed to stay clear on what my purpose was. I mean, obviously I'm not drinking at 5, right? But as I've gotten older, right, people ask, oh, Dom, you're in the military, you're a cop, you don't drink. No, why? For me, that's something that I felt that is going to take, it's going to allow me to be a little fuzzy on something that I needed to do that day. So I don't, and haven't and won't. That's not me. Go with me on this one. Am I mission focused? 6 phases to mission fulfillment. What to do after you've kicked in the door. Let me just share something with you. As a cop, you serve warrants. Everybody doesn't. Some people do. I did. When you knock on a door, like they don't just open the door with the apple pie in their hand and say, hey, welcome, come on in. I was waiting for you. Take me to jail. Oftentimes, Intel will tell you, hey, we need you to go to this numeric or this address. There's three subjects inside based off the last time we checked, and we need you to apprehend these 2. Done. Or this one. Oftentimes what happens is you go and you expect 3, but there's 6 people there. So once you kick in the door, we're not knocking, we're serving warrants. You have to know your position, what actions you're going to take, your options, your resources, your non-essentials, and your challenges. Let me paint this in a picture for you. You kick in the door. We've all seen that on television, or you can envision it. The moment you kick in the door, if they say 3, you're told 3, I can handle 3 on my own, but there's 6 people. You don't have the luxury of closing the door and saying, hey guys, you know what? I'll be right back. Obviously I was ill prepared for this. So let me just come back with some more resources. And you guys just stay here, leave all the drugs, leave everything out, all the illegal stuff, leave it out. Like that's not a conversation you can have. So you kick in the door, your position, you're what I call the frame of death. You're standing in the frame. Your actions, right? Do you know what your actions are going to be in this moment? Yes. Take another step forward. Do you go left or right? These are options. If you're by yourself, you better pick it quick. If you're with somebody you should have trained up to this point, I'm talking business partners, so you don't step over each other. What are your resources, right? In this situation, resource was a weapon. Maybe they don't have weapons, but there's more people in there, so I have to holster it, right? Then your non-essentials. So scanning the room, looking at the people, understand, okay, persons number 3, 4, and 5, they're non-essential. The fear in their face lets me know they're not going to touch me. What are the challenges? Persons number 1, 2, and 6. So who do I take out first, right? This is business. Like when you step into business and you do it with the ability to make split decisions, then you're going to win every single time. But the only way to operate at a standpoint or in a stance of making decisions every single day or every single moment throughout the day is you have to do a lot of things to keep yourself out of your comfort zone. You need to work out, right? You don't need to hit snooze on your alarm. Have a better relationship with your spouse. That's a topic for a whole nother day. Learn to articulate your positions. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. Some of the brightest people from an educational background, people that I've coached, are some of the stupidest people that I know. Because when they tell me they're going to do a thing, they need to analyze how they're trying to predict the future. At the end of the day, at this stage in my life, I have never coached anybody or spoken to anybody in an audience that the decisions that they make in the moment are going to have a negative impact on the globe. You're powerful, I get it. Let's bring it down to reality. We're not making decisions that are going to cost people their lives, right? Maybe some decisions that you make, you might lose some money, but you learn from that. And if you hang around the right people, then you learn not to make that decision, or you bounce ideas off of people. What is the state of my present environment? Understand your mental environment, your emotional environment, and your physical environment. This includes relationships. So what does your future vision look like? What strategies do you need to set in place to bridging the gap between your mind and your heart? Understand that you need to evaluate all of your actions. Are you unwilling to do it, or are you untilling to do it? Most people are just, they're waiting for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? I'm going to wait until things change. I'm going to wait until there's more time. I'm going to wait until I'm less tired, or until I get a promotion, or until we settle down. I'm going to wait until the coronavirus thing, is over. No, you're not. Because you're going to come up with another freaking excuse that's going to disallow you from doing the thing that you know you need to do now. Like I said before, no, I'm going to just step out on a limb and just assume nobody who's going to, under the sound of my voice, needs to do the thing that's in their gut that they're not doing. Whatever that thing is not going to change the way in which the world turns. Will it provide a positive impact to your world? Of course it will. Recognize all of your options. Never fit your vision to your circumstances. Fit your circumstances to your vision. Utilize all of your resources, people, opportunities, and time, and eliminate your non-essentials. I did a post on Instagram or Facebook the other day, I think, said something to the effect of, there's one contact in your phone that has a contact in their phone, that if they were to connect you with them, it would change your world. It's for you to figure out who that is. So this is for you to list the 5 things that you're willing to give up to make your vision a reality. Now list the 2 things you're going to give up, and then deal with all of your challenges. What is a challenge you currently have to deal with? Let's go to the next one. All right, here we go. Am I willing to pay the price? The vision is free, but the voyage is not. You will be required to pay sooner than you think. The cost to you will be greater than you expect. The price must be paid more than once, and it is possible to pay too much for your vision. I was talking to my wife yesterday. I said, you know what? If I had the same amount of expenditures, or if I spent the same amount of money that I did my first year in business to grow my business, I would have half of it left over. No, I did jump. I just jumped out and ran with it because that's the way I was trained. That's how I operate. To me, it's uncomfortable, but as long as I'm not comfortable, like I'm in a good space, right? And when there are some areas that I said, you know what, I may have paid too much for this, but I learned, and through those I had connections. Will it validate my existence? Is what you're going to do going to validate your existence? Confident people understand that the difference between the vision and the reality of attaining the vision. Confident people understand the size of the vision determines the size of the valley. See, some of you guys think you're on a mountain or you're at the top of a mountain and you might be winning, right? But it's a hill. Like I'm in Arizona, there's a lot of mountains here. And the way the way it looks out of my front window, you see hills, you see mountains, and then you see like where everybody goes to ski. A lot of people are operating on hills. And then even when they come down into the valley, they're like, oh, it's a valley, I have to climb. Okay, who cares? The benefit of climbing is you stay in shape. You stay in business shape, you stay in mental shape, you stay in the physical shape. So understand that the size of the vision your vision determines the size of the valley. Now, don't limit the size of your vision because you're not willing to do the freaking work. Go all in or get all out. Confident people make new discoveries while in the valley, and that's a wonderful place to be. Who will I influence? So maybe you ask yourself, I want to do something significant for myself, right? So you need to influence yourself first. Right? I had a client the other day did a consultation call. I said, what are your hobbies? He says, my kids. Look, as a parent, my son's not my hobby. Do I love him? Yes. Are there times I wish he wasn't around as he's asking me a million questions? Yes. I would much rather be. There are moments I'd rather be on my motorcycle, which he can't be on the track. That's not a space for him. That's my hobby. I'm a good father, right? So understand, you have to make yourself significant for yourself before anybody else makes you, or you expect anybody else to make you significant in their lives. It starts with you. Now, I want to do something significant for others. Giving back is a beautiful thing, right? It changes who you are as a person. And let's see here. How do I do this? Here we go. Give me a second here. Nope, don't want to share that. There we go. I'm back. I think I'm sharing. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Just click to present. I hope I'm clicking the right stuff. Anyways, let me get to this. There is, I don't know. Give me a second here as I wrap up. I can see it from here. Who will I influence? I want to do something significant for others, giving back, right? What are you going to do? What is it that your purpose to do that you feel is going to be significant for others? This is where you leave a legacy, right? And then I want to do something significant with others. You can go up, but you can't go up by yourself. You have to operate with a team mindset. And a team mindset is the thing that's going to help you get past what it is that you need to get past. So your barriers, right? Mental barriers, emotional barriers, your physical barriers, disregard the physical, mental and emotional. There are some times that you will need assistance, right? When you're given a task to go down range, you don't go by yourself. You will typically go with what's called a fire team. That's 5 people. And everybody has their own responsibilities. And let me, that is, I'm going to stop sharing and reshare. Here we go. Give me a second here. Let's see if this works. I don't even know what that is. So I'm just going to stop sharing, come back full screen, because that was the end of the presentation. And I don't know if there's any questions. I will take this time to do Q&A. Are there any questions? I don't want to start clicking on stuff. Let's see here. I don't see any questions. All right, while I'm clicking, if there's any questions, type them in the, let's go with the chat. I've got the chat up, that's for panelists. Let's go to Q&A. Currently, there are no answered questions. If you have a question, type it now. Let me go back to what we talked about. Here we go. Boom. I think I know what I'm doing now. There we are. All right. And it's still there. I think I've got, I have like 10 minutes left, 10, 15 minutes left. For anybody who's on, we've covered a lot. It was fast. At times it may have touched a heartstring, but this is where you ask questions, right? Command presence helps people with their, you're an entrepreneur, the money question, right? How many times do you spend giving information away for free? I hear and see it all the time. And then you don't know how to loop them back in to get to a space of just saying, hey, my services cost this much, right? Command presence is that thing that allows you to get out of the house, right? And go to networking events that you might be afraid to go to, or reach out to different people on social media that can help you grow your brand, help you grow your business. Command presence is that, those conversations, for those of you that are in a relationship, those conversations, I call them crucial conversations that you need to have with maybe your teenage children or your spouse, but you don't because it makes you uncomfortable. It shouldn't. When you're dialed into who you are, these are non-issues. And most of the things that we are supposed to address, or the things we're supposed to move forward on, we don't address simply out of fear or discomfort. I want to bring up the steps I use to attack a goal. And if you implement this, I didn't plan on it, but let's just talk about goals, because I call it effective goal setting. Now, what many people do that I've seen, this is including myself years ago, is we write down a goal. I want to do a thing. Let me give you the 9 things you do for every one goal you have. And trust me when I say, if you do this, you'll start off well and you'll end up better. So you pick the one goal. The example I used earlier was, I'm going to lose 25 pounds, right? Number 2, write down 10 benefits of accomplishing this goal. Let's just use weight for example. So some benefits, I'm not going to go all 10, more energy, reduce risk of heart disease, clearer skin, increased sex drive. 3, so 1 was pick the goal. 2 was write down the 10 benefits of accomplishing this goal. 3, write down 5 reasons this goal has yet to be accomplished. So negative self-talk could be 1. Light pollution at night, so you're on your phone too much. Stress, lack of exercise, and poor eating choices. These are examples. Number 4, write down the names of people that will benefit from your accomplishment of this goal. So say it is losing weight. I'm not a fitness guy, but this is just something that everybody has tried to do or does. So the first person's name should be yourself, maybe your spouse, your kids. Number 5, pick 3 people you are going to share your goal with, and these people should hold you accountable. So we're going to go with a coach, if you have one, or a mentor, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, but 3 people that you share your goal with. Oftentimes people don't share their goals with people. That's why their goals don't get attacked, because they're not being held accountable. Number 6, write down 4 things that could potentially get in the way of you accomplishing this goal. Some examples would be, so we're going with the example of losing weight, losing 25 pounds. So negative self-talk, a poor environment, poor food choices, and then not exercising. Number 7, write down 3 non-negotiables. This is extremely important. Listen up. Write down 3 non-negotiables that you will implement in order to guarantee you will accomplish your goal. If you don't have non-negotiables in every aspect of your life, you won't succeed. So for this example, I use going to the gym 3 times per week, no TV, phone, or computer after 7 p.m. And I just use this example when I stop eating chips. I'm not a chip guy, but a lot of people are. Number 8, write down 2 ways you will reward yourself once you accomplish this goal. I have found that many people struggle with rewarding themselves. They attain the goal and their mindset is moving on to another goal before they've even acknowledged the fact that they've won in an area of their life. You don't have to live that fast. Be fast, but you don't have to live fast to the point of not acknowledging what you've accomplished and your goals. So one could be the book a vacation in the instance of losing weight. So book a vacation to show off the new you. Treat yourself to 5 new outfits. Number 9, write down 1 date this goal will be accomplished by. So you write down the date in which your goal will be accomplished by. And I'll repeat these. I've got 1 through 9. Pick the goal, write down 10 the benefits of accomplishing this goal. Number 3, write down 5 reasons this goal is yet to be accomplished. Number 4, write down the names of the people that will benefit from your accomplishment of said goal. Number 5, pick 3 people you are going to share your goal with. These people should or will hold you accountable. Number 6, write down 4 things that could potentially get in the way of you accomplishing this goal. Write down 3 non-negotiables. Is number 7, write down 3 non-negotiables that you will implement in order to guarantee you will accomplish your goal. Number 8, write down 2 ways you will reward yourself once you accomplish said goal. Number 9, write down the date this goal will be accomplished. And let's see here. We got a timer here. Oh yeah, we are. Still got about 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions specific to what we just talked about?
I have a question for you, Dom. Everybody struggles with something. What's your struggle?
My struggle?
Yeah, because everybody has a struggle of some sort.
Let's call it meditating. So I hired a meditation coach. Like I'm very like just go. I hired a meditation coach and she started me with 20 minutes. She sat down, she said, look, we're going to do 20 minutes of meditation. No lie, I got to 5 minutes and I was like, look, we're going to have to lower this number because sitting still, what has, even as a kid, it was horrible. But as an adult, it's what helped me get to where I'm at. But I forgot what the phrase goes or who said it, but what got you here won't get you there. So learning how to, as I'm going to use the words my coach uses, stay in my presence, like just stay in the moment. So have I been, I'm sure my body has benefited from it, but I've only been doing it for the last 3 months. I see things differently, but triggering the mind to just slow down. And it's so beneficial. And it dawned on me yesterday. I went for a 10-mile bike ride and on my cycle bike, in lower gears, you pedal faster, but doesn't mean you're going fast. You're going faster. Your feet are moving faster, but the rotation of the gears are smaller. So you're expending a lot of energy and you're not really going that fast. But when you increase the gears and your feet are moving slower, you go faster. And it just dawned, when you go do something like that, you're kind of dialed in, but that was the thing. And I'm sure as we all grow, stepping into our discomfort, there's going to be other things that happen. I don't think there's an end to becoming a better version of self by getting dialed in on who we are and what we need to do, specifically to those things that are areas of opportunities in our life. Great question. Thank you, sir. Let's see here. I don't see any other questions.
Oh.
Did somebody say something? I'm going to go with no.
Okay, so this is Elizabeth. And where does being gentle on yourself come into this?
Gentle. What? So when you say being gentle on yourself,
allowing yourself to be imperfect. So here you've got this wonderful goal, and maybe you do go and eat that bag of cookies.
So in the beginning of the training, there was a moment where I said, you have to decide if you say to yourself, I'm going to sit down and watch an hour and a half of TV, then you got to be okay with that. Right. So the question I'll ask myself is, all right, Dominic, you're going to Cheesecake Factory and you're strictly going there for cheesecake. Are you okay with that? And if my answer to myself is yes, then I do it. Right. So I don't think a person can strive towards perfection. I don't even think perfection exists. And in my experience, and I'm talking from myself when I was younger, so a very hot-headed military dude, I thought there was perfection. But the moment I began to diversify my associations, so I started talking to people who didn't act like me, look like me, think like me, believe like me, or sound like me, I realized that there was I can't be perfect, because perfection, a marble could look perfect to other marbles, but once that marble gets around some cinder blocks, the cinder blocks are like, what use are you? So when you start hanging around other people from different cultures, different religious backgrounds, the different sides of the political aisle, right, that do different things, you realize the world is so vast, you have so much to learn and so many ways to grow, right? So I don't think a perfection even exists. It's who I am in the moment for myself, or who I am in the moment or need to be for the person that's around me.
Okay, great.
That's a wonderful question. I've never been asked that before.
Well, being so thoroughly imperfect myself, it just,
aren't we all?
The idea of goals is great, but then how do we actually do it? Actually, here's a question that came up earlier today, which was, what makes your system different from all the other systems and all the other coaches who say, okay, we're going to teach you how to achieve those goals? Speaking as someone who has started and then not finished about 1 million of those programs.
My system, everything that I do is based off of a lot of questions. I can't find the answers for the person that I ask the questions to, right? So I have a goal system. The goal system works simply because you pick the goal, you pick the people that are going to hold you accountable, you pick the reasons that you're not going to, that the things that could potentially hold you back. I can't tell you. I think a good coach can only ask questions. And I don't call anything that I do a system as it relates to coaching person to person or talking to an audience of people, because a system might work for me on Monday that doesn't work for me on Wednesday, right? I might have a system of every Monday I go to the gym, right? But then Monday night I find out my mom's in the hospital. Well, Tuesday morning I'm not going to the gym. Like that would be a system. So I had to tweak my routines. But maintaining a system is good. Maintaining a routine gives me something to look forward to every single day. But then staying outside of my comfort zone allows me to adapt non-emotionally, but effectively in the environment that I'm in. For example, when I found out my mother was in the hospital and she might not make it through the year, I had a routine that I was so dialed in on that I was able to I'm an ugly crier, but not cry about it, but actually go and be a person of comfort, because she needed me to be strong in the moment. It wasn't for me to boo-hoo, if you will. So staying outside of my comfort zone, which is my system, if you will, just for lack of better words, allows me to be way more clear and have much more clarity on my next step, or at least what to do when my foot hits the ground.
I have another question, but if anyone else has a question as well. Okay, I guess it's me. So go Juliet.
No, I said go ahead.
But actually, I'm wondering, who are the sorts of people you really like to work with? Or actually, put it a different way, who are the people who are not necessarily a good fit for you? Like, where are the strengths that you're actually going to send them off to somebody else?
I'm not a good first person's coach. I don't typically coach people under the age of 30. I don't coach people that live with their parents, no matter what age.
Good policy.
I mean, these are just things I've coached all of these types of people, and the longer I do this, the more I realize that they want what they think they see. They don't really want to get there on their own. So I'm an executive coach. I'd say majority of my clients are executives, and so those are the three my non-negotiables. You live with your parents, I can't coach you, right?
Yeah.
And if usually I have two clients that are under 30, but one guy owns his own brick and mortar and he's prior military. Actually, both of them are prior military, ironically enough. I guess like attracts like. But those are, I'd say those are the main ones. But my assessment that I have people take, it lets me see, is this a person that I want to coach? And having been a person that's gone to a shrink or psychiatrist, and having been a person that's gone to a counselor, I know what it looks like. I know what a person sounds like that probably needs to see a psychiatrist. I know what a person sounds like that probably that would benefit so much more going to a counselor, right? And I also know what a person sounds like that's like, okay, I've had a coach, this is what I've done, and this is who I want to work with.
Yeah. No, I've asked, actually for referral purposes, is that who's the right kind of person. There are things I'm better at than not. And so places where as a speaker trainer, if someone's still trying to figure out what they want to say, I will send them to somebody else, because where I'm really good is once you know what you want to say, I'll get you out there, that kind of thing. So it's that kind of, that sort of stuck in the back of my mind. And I wondered, okay, who would be a good referral? I have a couple of people I'm going to say, go pay attention to Dom Fawcett. And I was thinking about cross referral purposes. So I was thinking about who are good referral partners for you that would know those people and would send them to you, or vice versa, who like working with the under 30s or the ones who are living with their parents or things like that. So that's why I was asking.
Awesome. Well, both of your questions were great, but thank you very much for asking. I appreciate that.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, anybody? Dom is amazing.
Yes, he is.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I think we're going to take a little break, about 5 minutes, Scott, and then we're going to start happy hour. We're getting Ross to jump on. Ross Halleck's going to be on and do a little wine tasting, and I'm trying to find Chef Marie. She's going to have a little pairing for us. So go grab your Pinot and join us in 5 minutes.
Okay,
right.
Great.
Hey, Ross.
Hi, Juliet. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
I think we're going to start in about 1 minute.
Perfect. Then my timing is good.
Absolutely perfect. I'm looking for Marie right now.
I'm here with a
she-
glass of
Oh,
wine.
look at, he's prepared.
So, in order, if I wanted to see Elizabeth, so I got in and I was in sort of waiting room mode. Could I have been watching her?
You were just on as an attendee, Ross. We were just in a short break when you logged in.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we just got done with our last speaker. How are we going to do this? Are we going to bring everybody on as panelists, Scott?
Who's everybody?
Well, we've got a gang here.
Let's
Yeah.
if they have questions, we can bring them on. But if we bring on 12 people at once, it'll be kind of a cluster. So let's let
Okay.
Ross do his thing. Let's let Chef Marie do their thing. Then we'll bring them on for questions and go from there afterwards. Okay.
Well,
Perfect.
what is our thing? What I think we're going to need to be asked questions because I don't have
Okay.
a prepared,
yeah,
you
of
know-
course. But you talk about the aspects of the wines and kind of the basic wine tasting stuff and go from there, correct?
Okay, well, yeah, just ask me questions and I can talk for hours.
What are
Because
all
you know
those
the
bottles
context.
behind you?
What's that?
What are all those bottles behind you?
They are all of our awards.
Cool.
So yeah, they're actually all award-winning wines.
Oh, nice. Okay, so Mike says he has beer, so it'll have to work. No Pinot today. So
That's fine.
whatever works, just fake it.
Yeah, this is just whatever lubrication, people just need to choose their medicine wisely.
Okay, all right. Do you want to go ahead and get started, Scott? Once you get started, I'm still looking for Marie to find out where she's at.
Go ahead, get started.
She said that she was here. I mean,
Oh,
I got her text anyway.
I think she said she's in the waiting room.
Oh, is she in the waiting room?
No, that was
Okay.
me.
Okay.
So I'm out of the waiting room now.
Okay, so I just have to get her, and I just tried to call her. Make sure she had the link. Okay, she saw it. Oh, okay, she's writing something here.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and get started. Ready for what? You are on right now. Okay. Okay, go ahead and get started, Scott. I'm not Scott. I'm sorry, Ross.
So, would you like me to introduce myself?
I would, or do you want us to introduce you?
Well, why don't you start and then I can fill in the gaps.
Okay, so we're going to have a wine tasting sort of how you do this when you go out from Ross Halleck, and he is the owner of Halleck Vineyards, and that's in Sonoma, right?
It's in Sonoma County and the town is Sebastopol.
Ah,
So
all right.
people misunderstand.
Sebastopol.
Sonoma County, like it takes 3 hours to go from one end of Sonoma County to the other. So it's
Okay,
big.
you're totally gonna laugh. Do you know Bernadette Byrne?
No.
Oh, okay.
I might.
All right. Never mind. I thought she was right up in that area and she does something with wines. Anyway, he's gonna do.
Well, there are a lot of us here.
There are a lot of
Sort of
yeah.
like saying, do you live in New York? Do you know?
Okay, all right. So, all right, got off track there. But you can see behind him all of the awards that his vineyard has won over the years. And what's cool is he's going to be one of our panelists tomorrow too, because he has made a pivot in all of this to, and I'll let him explain it tomorrow, but he included his community in what he's doing. And so he's helping a lot of people out, and he's facilitating contact during this isolation through virtual wine parties as well. So Ross, welcome. I'm super excited.
My pleasure to be here. And how many people are here? Who am I talking to?
I think we have 13 left.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody jumped off, but a lot of people jumped off, but we have 13 people left who couldn't wait to hear you do this.
Well, I just welcome you all and thank you for having me. And I think probably the thing that I can add the most value here is teaching people how to taste wine. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sounds great.
Okay, good. So, you know, I don't know if you can do a poll. I can't see anybody. So how many people here are drinking wine? How many people have a glass of wine in front of them?
I don't know, just maybe put your hand up. How do you want to do that? Or write in that you have wine with you? Nobody's writing. Oh no. Let's just assume they all do. I know Merrill did. Merrill was waiting for this. He had his wine ready after his talk at 3.
Well, it's a little important because it's kind of like a participation experience, but I'll talk it through. And
Oh, okay.
well, you can do this with iced tea too.
Okay.
So, I have a glass of our estate grown Pinot Noir in front of me. And the reason I have that is because it is from my backyard. This is the wine that kind of put us on the map. It's a 1-acre vineyard. And we were judged #1 Pinot Noir in the United States, our very first vintage. And we had the privilege of being judged #1 Pinot Noir in the United States last year too. And so anyway, the first thing in tasting a glass of wine is smelling it. And so and you can do this with whatever you're drinking, be it beer, although it's a little hard with spirits because spirits it has a lot of volatile alcohol and it often makes you uncomfortable. But the first thing you do is you smell the wine. And the reason we smell the wine is because our tongue actually only tastes 6 things. So those are sweet, sour, salt, bitter, a Japanese term called umami, which means savory, or which means savory, and it has a certain different connotation in Japan, but we translate it to savory. And just recently, actually, a new taste has been discovered. It happened on July 3rd of 2015. So in other words, on July 2nd of 2015, we tasted 5 things. And then on July 3rd of 2015, we evolved as a species and we began tasting 6. I don't know what you were doing on that morning, but it was a big morning for Homo sapiens. And that 6th thing that we began tasting on July 3rd was a term that doesn't actually roll off your tongue, haha. It's called oleogustus, and it means fat. And so, and it was a result of a paper published by Purdue University and then republished by the New York Times. And and then generally accepted across academic circles around the world. So the point is if our tongue only tastes 6 things, then this thing we call flavor, which is this infinite number of experiences, and it changes from birth to passing, and it evokes memory, association. We use metaphor to describe it. You know, I'll smell this wine and it'll smell like forest floor as an example, or dark cherries. Well, I haven't put anything in the forest in this wine, and I certainly haven't put dark cherries in this wine. It's all grape juice, but we use metaphor to describe flavor, again, because it brings up associations and even emotion. So this thing we call flavor happens somewhere else. And so science believes it happens in our olfactory receptors. You remember that from high school biology, your olfactory receptors? Now, in fact, science does not know how we smell. So this is still a theory. And they've been working on it diligently for many, many years. In fact, we're further away now from knowing how we smell than we were even 10 years ago. It becomes a bigger mystery. But for the sake of discussion, we'll say that it happens in our olfactory receptors. And of course, they've been working on it a long time because, you know, it's a $1 trillion industry. You think of all the products we consume, from children's toys to laundry detergent to cosmetics to that cloying aroma in airports that make you desire a cinnamon pastry. So all of those things require human panels. They're very expensive to produce, and they become part of brands. So if science actually understood how we smelled and how those molecules interacted with our olfactory receptors, they might be able to three-dimensionally print them and deliver them over our handheld devices. Or movies would become four-dimensional. And so for the sake of discussion, we're going to say that it is all our olfactory receptors that are responsible for this thing we call flavor. And so the reason we smell to begin is to augment and prepare those taste buds that we have for the full experience of tasting. Now, one of the big mysteries around tasting is that our olfactory receptors are directional. I'm going to take these off. Our olfactory receptors are directional. There are two access points to them. One is through our nostrils, which is why we smell to begin. And the second is through a passage in the back of our throats. It's called the nasopharynx. Any of you who have worked in the medical profession know that the nasopharynx connects your nostrils to the back of your palate. And so I want everybody to swallow once and notice what your tongue does. It pushes up, right? So that is a protective device. If you are about to swallow anything that is not good for you, you will choke, gag, or throw up right now. And it doesn't happen when we smell. They are the same molecules. They are going to the same olfactory receptors. There is no physical change to them. There is no difference in distance. Science does not understand that. But what it suggests is that in order to fully taste, you have to get as many molecules up through the nasopharynx as possible. So one of the techniques that you may have noticed when you're with people who taste wine is a technique that our parents taught us was very impolite at the table. They called it slurping. Okay, so this technique that I'm going to share with you, I do not call slurping. I have a little post-traumatic stress around that word. I grew up in a generation, it looks like some of you did too, where parents laid hands on their children. And I was a taster since I was a little tyke, and every time I slurped at the table, I got one of these. That is impolite at the table. And it's ironic to me that it was perfectly polite to hit your child in front of anybody, anywhere. You could even ask your neighbor, will you hit him for me? And it was impolite to slurp at the table. Well, I did a lot of slurping and I got a lot of these. And so I do not call this technique I'm about to share with you slurping. I call it bong hit tasting. And you'll understand why I call it that when I share. And it's not just because I'm from California, or I could be from, I guess, Colorado. It's not just because I come from California that I call it that. It's actually because of the experience itself. So I'm going to take a little wine. I'm going to put it in my mouth, just like a half a teaspoon, not very much. And I'm going to put it behind my lower front teeth right here. And I'm going to push it up with my tongue. So it's in front of my tongue, not behind my tongue. And then I'm going to purse my lips and I'm going to draw air through it. And it's going to bubble. And it's going to sound like a water pipe in my head. And then I'm going to do something equally awkward. I'm going to chew like this with my mouth closed. Now, I'm not chewing to grind up all those pesky little molecules and squeeze out all their juices. I'm chewing because our jaw is a switch. Are you texting me, Juliet? Oh, so I'm getting some questions here. Let me finish and I'll answer the questions. So our jaw is a switch. And by chewing with your mouth closed, a lot of things happen. One, your digestive juices start producing. You start salivating, and it turns on your olfactory receptors like that, just by doing this. And so I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to do this, and then I want everybody to try it. And I'll talk a little bit about what happens. Now, You don't have to do that long. Just a couple of seconds works. But you'll notice if you have a glass of wine in your hand and you're drinking it, that the flavor explodes in your mouth. And you get all sorts of other notes that you would not have normally perceived just by tasting the wine. Now, the good news about that is if you're drinking an extraordinary wine like this is, it brings out, these, flavors of like cedar and tobacco and mushrooms, as well as the fruit of dark cherries and plums. And it has all this complexity, and it lasts for minutes and minutes and minutes. Now, if you're drinking not a great wine, it brings out all the flaws in the wine. So this is a technique that tasters use in order to evaluate wines. And it's also a technique to really get the most out of a glass of wine. And the first thing I'm going to say is that this is polite in any restaurant in the world. So to put a kibosh on this is not polite. In fact, in Japan and in Asian countries, slurping is not only not impolite, it is complimentary to the chef. It describes that you are deeply appreciating what they have prepared for you because you have such a much deeper experience of the flavor. So if you're drinking an inexpensive wine that isn't very good, you don't want to do this. If you're just drinking for effect, then you just, you drink it cold and quickly. But if you have a really fine glass of wine and you're at a restaurant and you're pairing it with food and you have food that goes along with the wine, this technique will blend the food and the wine together in a way that no other technique can, and you'll have a much deeper appreciation for the wine. And all of a sudden, if you do this through the course of a meal, that $100 that you've just spent on this bottle of wine, you go, I just spent $100 on a bottle of wine. It will seem like a bargain because of how much it enhances the meal. So that's my little tutorial. I have some questions here. How do you know you have a flawed wine? Well, there's a really simple answer to that. If you don't like it.
Okay.
Because at the end, now the problem with this answer is that if you're at a restaurant and you've just ordered a bottle of wine and they bring it to you and you taste it and it's not flawed, but you don't like it, you're kind of stuck with it. Now, if you don't like it and you think it might be flawed, well, that's when you bring the sommelier or the wine steward or the manager of the restaurant and ask them, can you please taste this and tell me if this is okay? And they'll be honest with you. If the wine is flawed, and the most common flaw in a wine is a flavor. It's described as corked. If the wine is corked, and it has nothing to do with the cork, by the way. A corked wine has a really distinctive flavor. It doesn't matter if it's white or red. It's the same flavor, and it's a result of a molecule called trichloroanisole. And what it does is it robs the fruit and makes the wine smell and taste like old newspapers. Oh. And it's very, very common. You get maybe one corked bottle of wine, maybe in every 20 bottles. Now that isn't true of our wines. We rarely have a corked bottle of wine, but in the real world, it's about, anywhere from 3 to 8% of wines have this molecule called trichloroanisole. And keep in mind, this molecule is not living. It's not an infection. It is an affection, meaning an effection. So it's this molecule that randomly occurs in wine. It comes from glass. It comes from wood. And just random bottles have this flaw in it. So the thing to know right out of the gate, you can smell a corked wine a mile away. If it smells like your grandmother's basement, you have a flawed wine. But there are other things that can flaw wines that have different, it can be oxidized. Oftentimes that's shown by in a red wine, the edges of the wines are amber color instead of red. Now, sometimes that's just the age of the wine and they're not flawed, but there are little tips. And it's just a matter of experience and learning that you can identify all the various flaws that can happen in wine. But corking is the most prevalent. So let's see. Why are some people better tasters than others? Can this be learned? Yes, it can be learned. In fact, it must be learned. We take tasting for granted, and so people don't put a lot of focus on it. But there's if you look on the internet, there's a thing called an aroma wheel that you can download, and it gives you a whole vocabulary and how flavors. It's like it's a wheel, and it's in spokes, and it's got different colors, and it has all these different words for describing how things taste. And the best way to learn is, of course, with experience and with other people. So it's a community activity, learning how to taste, and it's super fun. And for those of you that are tasters like me, I'm kind of an oral person, and you notice I talk a lot. Tasting has opened up doors that have just enhanced my life tremendously, and not the least of which is being able to appreciate a good glass of wine.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Can we bring Marie on? Because Marie, Ross has been here with one of his Pinot Noirs. Pinot Noir, right? I'm not a wine.
Pinot Noir, that's correct.
And Chef Marie, who a lot of you guys may know, we have her, she has her glass of wine right there, has done a pairing recipe with Pinot Noir. And for those of you who don't watch the Monday Marketing Mixer, Chef Marie and her team of experts at MChef have developed over the last decade a new spice solution of certified organic USDA, kosher, and HACCP, which I don't know what that is, filler-free from the 12 main allergens. And she actually has a line. She's sitting there laughing like, what are you talking about, Juliet? But who knew that, you know, a lot of these spices had things in them that we don't want. So Chef Marie is one of the pioneers in North America to offer unique alternatives that are improved, optimized, clean spices that she's introduced to the spice market. And she has a recipe she's going to share with us today. So welcome, Marie. Did you turn your microphone off?
I am here. Do you hear me?
We can hear you. Do you guys just love that little
loud and
French
clear
accent?
It's the French accent from Montreal, but you know, this accent just don't go away. I'm sorry about that.
So
Thank you
cute.
for having me today. I'm very happy to share a food and wine experience with all of you today. Thank you.
That's
Okay,
great.
so
go
to
ahead.
go to to go with the Pinot Noir, I've discussed with Ross previously about the recipe that I wanted to share with you. It's very simple. I hope that you guys have an onion at home. It's gonna be very easy breezy. We're gonna make a cheesy bacon bite with a caramelized honey onion and a little bit of roasted pine nuts. Easy breezy on a crostini or crouton. So let's talk about the recipe. First of all, in a medium pan, over high heat with a little bit of heat and a nub of butter, you're gonna mince finely an onion, just one. You're gonna have about 8 servings, easy breezy. What you want to get is a coloration, very, very mild golden coloration with the butter and the oil. Why we put both fats is because we want to make sure that the butter will give that beautiful golden color, and with the oil it allows us to go a little bit higher into our intensity of heat, so we will get that brown onion that we want to get. Then when we get that coloration, we'll add just simply not much, because Pinot Noir is, you know, has its sweetness, so we don't want to go there. You know, we really want to have a dosed caramelized onion confit. So therefore, we're gonna have only 1 teaspoon of honey, because honey and fat together, butter and honey, just bind so well to get the coloration that we're looking for. The secret here is to put some water You could put a little bit of vinegar if you want, but I'm not going to go there today because Pinot Noir, we want to respect its beautiful taste and flavored notes. So we're just going to go with water today. Water, it would be half a cup. Then we let it simmer. So we bring to a boil, we let it simmer. And then we repeat the operation. Get a very tender texture of the onion. And of course, I will add one of my famous spices that it's herbs of south of France. This is a herbs from Provence with dried tomatoes, lavender, and flavor notes of lemon. It's gonna go very like marry beautifully the flavors together, and that's it. So then you're gonna have your confit onion. You're gonna put on the side. Gonna make a nice crouton, easy breezy, just a little drizzle of olive oil. You can also put a little bit of flour salt or any type of good quality salt that you have. And then you put your caramelized onion on top of the crouton. You check in your fridge what type of cheese you have. Take the cheese that you like the most. For this type of recipe, I'd like to the old cheddar, but if you have goat cheese or brie, you take whatever you like. It's Friday, it's Easter Friday, enjoy. It's gonna go so well with it. And then after that, you can add a little bit of nuts that will be roasted when you're gonna put it in the oven. 350 degrees, just to let the cheese melt beautifully. And you get your bite, easy breezy. Onion confit, what else do you want? It can accompany so many things after that, you know. You don't need to have it only for your cheese appetizer with your Pinot Noir. After that, you can accompany it with sandwich and over pizza and accompany your meat, fish, tofu. You know, it's such an easy recipe and anyone can do it because I hope you have an onion at home right now.
That's great.
Easy breezy.
Juliet,
And
to
then
our, can you hear Juliet talking?
please go
Juliet,
ahead.
you're muted.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you have a page we can go to grab that recipe, don't you?
Well, that recipe has been shared with you. I will put it on my website. I thought it was exclusive to the summit. So yes, I will put it on the website. And I have also prepared this morning an article for your summit for everyone at home. It's on mchef.com. If you can find at the blog, it's a super useful, practical article about things to do in a kitchen. So clean your kitchen, your fridge, what to do, what to plan ahead for the menu part, when to go at the grocery, and how long should I buy grocery for, 2 weeks in advance, and what to buy. I thought the basic essentials to keep at home as for food wise. And I also give a lot of tips to have fun this weekend with your kids. There's so many ways to experience cooking and baking. Please check it out. I will share this post with you. I actually did it this morning, but if we can share to our audience, I'm sure they will like the article.
Yes.
It's full of joy.
It's at mchef.com, right?
I
Yes,
just
if
found
you
it here
want,
and I posted the,
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Marie.
I
That
just
is,
found it.
yeah. Yay.
Thank you for inviting me again. I really appreciate your time, and happy Easter to everyone. You know, try to find some joy into a burst of flavors, you know, because that's what it counts. Especially every day right now, it's about food. It's so good, and food is the medicine.
It is. It is. So, Scott, I think that wraps it up for today, doesn't it? Unless these guys have questions, go over and check out that article because it's always great to know, you know, all of those things about keeping your kitchen clean, especially now with coronavirus. You know, we want to make sure that our families are safe, especially if we're serving raw food. And go grab her recipe, grab a bottle of Ross. Ross, can we order a bottle? You have subscription boxes, don't you?
yes, you can order a bottle. I'll put my let's see, I'll put my email address, our website here,
Okay.
Pellet Vineyard without an S.com.
You guys make
And-
sure you show up tomorrow for the pivot panel. It's at 3:30 Pacific. You guys can translate that out. Ross is going to tell you guys what he did with his business, and it's just so inspiring that he made this pivot right at the right time. And we're also going to have a magician, Heather. What's
Rogers.
Roberts. Heather Roberts.
Rogers.
Yeah, Rogers. Heather
Rogers.
Rogers on as well. So Ross and Marie, thank you so much, and we will see you guys
Thank you, Juliet.
tomorrow.
It's a perfect
Okay.
pairing, by
Okay,
the
be
way,
safe.
magic and wine.
There you go.
Exactly.
Chin
She
chin.
could do some things with a wine glass,
Thank
I'll
you,
tell
Ross.
you. Yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank
We'll see
you
you tomorrow
all.
morning.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.